by these railroad tracks, where we'll get a quick little history lesson before we get into this Atlanta vlog. So let's get into it. Now, Bessie Coleman was the 10th of 13 children born to tenant farmers Susan and George Coleman. Famed aviatrix Bessie Coleman was a native of Atlanta, Texas. The family moved to Waxahachie when Bessie was 2 years old, and she followed her brothers to Chicago in 1915 and developed an interest in flying. Because she could find no one in the United States who would teach African American women, Coleman learned to fly in France and obtained her international pilot's license in 1921. Upon her return to the United States, she was hailed as the first black woman to pilot an airplane. Bessie Coleman unfortunately died in an air accident in Jacksonville, Florida, and in 1926, and is buried near Chicago. So RIP Bessie Coleman. But you talk about an enormous amount of dedication to learn how to fly despite all obstacles. Hey, let's go. Good morning, good people. This is P9 with another vlog, and I am here in the small town of Atlanta, Texas. Now, Atlanta is a city that's located in Cass County, and it's actually named after the big city of Atlanta, Georgia. And you know, P9, your boy P9 was actually born in ATL, Georgia. So it's interesting to see a small town that's named after Atlanta, Georgia, located here in Texas. And I'm outside of the City National Bank over here on Main Street, which is where I'll start this walking tour here in Atlanta. Now, Atlanta, Texas was established in 1872 after the Civil War. It has a population of 5,433. So it's really more so a small city than it is a small town, because it has over 5,000 residents. So a little more than I initially thought it was. But we're here, over here are the railroad tracks here in Atlanta, Texas. It's located on the Texas Pacific Railway. We're going to get over to the railroad depot, which is right over there. We're going to get over there after a while. So lumber was the chief industry, and still is the chief industry here in Atlanta, Texas. The shipping is facilitated by the railroads, of course. Go some lumber over there, actually. You have bumper to bumper auto parts. Works bumper to bumper auto parts right over here. Texas Farm Road 251, the junction over here, up at this intersection ahead. So the uptick of population in Atlanta's history took place about the 1930s. Again, that's due in large part because of the lumber industry. It's pretty much how this town ultimately ended up thriving. And they have this little plaza. It's called Plaza on Main. Let me go check this out. Looks pretty cool. They have the string lights, the seating. And it was made in November 2012. Plaza made possible by the vision and foresight and funded by the Atlanta City Development Corporation. City manager David Cockrell. So it's really nice little area over here. Again, it's called the Plaza on Main. Camelot Manor, antiques and decorative arts. State Bank, right here at the corner of William Street and Main Street. And in fact, let me go ahead and cross the street over here. Uncle Juan's. You got Merle Norman. They have a Merle Norman right here in Atlanta. Retail shop. Interesting that they have that right here in the small town or small city. Uncle Juan's Mexican restaurant. This looks like this definitely has to be the spot. Some Tex-Mex. Classic Tex-Mex food. Sound like a good spot to go get some grub. Have a floral shop. Atlanta Floral and Gifts. And mind you, everything is closed right now because this is early morning. It's like a little after 7 o'clock. Cafe Cream. So just passed by like a little coffee shop. And they have this little area right here, this park that honors military soldiers. You have the Arlington National Cemetery in Arlington, Virginia, on this picture right here. So that's the Arlington National Cemetery near Washington, D.C. And you have this memorial right here, provided by the American Legion, Post 258. Out of Atlanta, Texas. And it's just different marble markers. This one talks about the Middle Eastern Wars, which took place in the 1990s and ended in 2021. So it spanned 31 years, multiple campaigns. More than 3 million American personnel, American soldiers fought in this war. So of course, you know, it's a lot of those. But this memorial is dedicated to those who participated in the Middle East wars. You had the Afghanistan wars that was triggered by the 9/11 attacks. So it's a monument honoring all the soldiers that died in that conflict, as well as, you know, talks about the Al Qaeda group, Bin Laden, and all of those individuals. And also the Pentagon talks about the World Trade Center, those who lost their lives in the Pentagon, and the ones that lost their lives in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where they diverted the plane. So yeah, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, and Kuwait, the liberation of Kuwait, which took place in the midst of the Gulf War, Operation Desert Storm. So America has had a ton of wars, or at least involvement in wars, but nevertheless, RIP and salute to the soldiers. And this is by This one right here is by Attaway. He did this USS Kitty Hawk. He also did this. This is the Iwo Jima. Looks like this is the Iwo Jima planting of the flag. It took place World War II. And this took place in Korea, 1950. And wow, they have a lot of military dedications. Vietnam War. Over 8 million people served in the Vietnam War. Over 58,000 people lost their lives in that war. World War I is like over 4 million people served in World War I. 116,000 lives lost, and over 300,000 served in the Spanish-American War. So yeah, a lot of military, a lot of wars, a lot of military involvement from the U.S. part. And the parcels of this land for this memorial, the Lanier Richie Smith Memorial Plaza, were given by Atlanta, or given in memory of Atlanta visionaries William David Lanier, Thomas Robbins Ritchie, Moselle Ritchie Smith, by their family. So shout out to the Lanier, Ritchie, and Smith families. As we walk around and make our way down East Street. You have a tobacco shop right over here. Ray Harp and Diamond Jewelers, been in operations since 1953. East Texas Meat Slingers. Sell beef, poultry, pork, seafood. Reclaimed Rack clothing sales. So you have this shop that you have paraphernalia and apparel representing the Queen City Bulldogs. Queen City is the neighboring town of Atlanta. Shout out to Queen City. And of course you have Atlanta, Texas. So anybody who knows Texas is they're notorious for high school football out here. Like some of the, I mean, it's just like this is the breeding grounds for high school football and football players in general. It's Texas. It's Texas, Georgia. I feel like the top tier high school football states are Texas and Georgia. And you could probably throw Florida. Yeah, you could throw Florida in there too. But yeah, this is a really nice little I guess if you will, collage of, or montage of different paintings. It's a lot of them. Atlanta, 1776, One City Under God. It's just basically a bunch of commemorating a bunch of events throughout history. You see Benjamin Franklin on there, JFK, Abe Lincoln. I think Rosa Parks. I see Rosa Parks on there. Let me get closer up. Let me get closer. Yeah, goes Ronald Reagan right there. There goes the wagon and carriage. There goes the first man to land on the moon. I believe that's supposed to be Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, somebody, or it's just an astronaut in general. You got Babe Ruth baseball. Okay. There goes Ronald Reagan. I think I just mentioned him. And of course, there goes Native American Indian. firefighters, first responders, Ben Franklin, Rosa Parks, Abe Lincoln, Liberty Bell. Yeah, what else? The Dallas Cowboys, of course. This is Texas. Wow, it's a lot of stuff. This is really dope. Chronicle 714, Second Chronicle 714. Shouts out to all of the artists on this. Bradley, Kirsten, Maggie, Cash. Okay, so it looks like a bunch of perhaps local high school students or local elementary, middle school students, just local students in general put that together. It's really nicely done. Really brings that flavor to the town, you know what I'm saying? Images Salon and Spa. I think that's what occupies this building right here. I think it used to be Miles Drug Company, still has the signage there, but it's a salon now. The birds flying up in the air. Atlanta National Bank was built. This building was built 1928. It looks like it's for sale. Yep, this Atlanta National Bank building looks like it's for sale. Call Stuart Scott, residential land and commercial realtor. Wow, interesting. Sweet Spot Atlanta. Sweet Spot Atlanta, treats, dessert, and coffee. Okay, that's a nice little spot. Looks like a nice little spot. The Junction. Spelled with a K. I guess it's a bunch of collectibles and antiques. Looks like. Got some nice spots. I got a little bit more than what I bargained for when I came to Atlanta. Why go to the big A when you could come to the small A? Cobblestone. They got a lot of clothing, jewelry, and gift shop. So a lot of locally owned spots. The Rabbit Patch. Oh, by the way, that's the name. That's the mascot for the Atlanta High School. The Rabbits, Atlanta High School Rabbits. It's interesting. That's the first time I've ever heard of a mascot being a rabbit. I've heard of jackrabbits though, but just straight rabbits, nah, I don't think I've ever heard of it. But that's cool though. It's cool. I like the fact that this town shows school spirit. They show a lot of support and everything like that. So it's the Atlanta High School Rabbits and the Queen City Bulldogs. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. But yeah, the Rabbit's Patch is a restaurant. It's a nice little statue, or not statue, but like a I think it's made out of hay. This rabbit is made out of hay. It's pretty cool. And these folks be getting creative with these materials and stuff, natural resources and whatnot. The Atlanta Rabbits. Yeah, they have a lot of They have a lot of merchandise. They really show support. They really show support for their local sports and stuff. Is it Jana's Mercantile? It's like a lot of cool stuff in here. Candied jalapenos, gourmet salsa, the art of the Corvette. That seems like a pretty interesting read. Photography by Randy Leffingwell and Tom Loser. So shout out to Randy Leffingwell and Tom Loser. They did this art of the Corvette book. Wow, it sits right here on the window too. The Lord is my strength, my song. It gives me victory and I will praise him. Exodus 15:2. That's a really good message and a nice shirt. Yeah. Jana's Mercantile. That's pretty cool. And it sits right next to this antiques flea market. Very nice. And definitely support local. Shop local. It's the name of the game. It also goes a theater over here. Let me go check that out. It's obviously abandoned. It's called the State Theater. And just getting a little brief background on it. It was opened in 1941, designed with the streamlined modern style of that time. Has the red glazed brick trim, as you can see right here. So you have the red glazed bricks. That's actually the first time I've seen a theater with this type of trim on the bricks. It's really nice. But this theater, the State Theater, closed back in 1990, and it's since served as a local landmark for the downtown area. So wow, sad to see that the local theater closed down, but yeah, you can see this is where the movie posters once were. Yeah, that's crazy to close this theater down. Looks like it could be restored possibly. Hey, how you doing?
Good. Y'all gonna buy it? Buy it, redo it?
I definitely wouldn't mind. It could.
Piece of history.
It's a piece of history right here. Yeah.
Maybe a bunch of us could go in on it.
I wouldn't mind putting some money in the pot, you know.
I know, right? All right. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Now, for real though, I wouldn't mind investing some money into it. I mean, even though I'm an outsider, out of towner, but yeah. But if I was a real estate investor, I'll definitely put some money into it for real. The project for this generous donation of land from Mr. and Mrs. E.B. Woods and vision of the directors of the Atlanta City Development Corporation. So Mr. and Mrs. Woods donated this land, and they kind of landscaped it a little bit. And it's like a little mini park, I guess. Very interesting. Very interesting. And it's a really nice morning to go take a morning stroll. The lady I just spoke to was walking her dog. So that's really nice to see, you know, people getting out early in the morning instead of letting this really nice morning, beautiful morning go to waste. And it's still somewhat, you know, bearable as far as the weather. It's not extremely hot right now. It feels pretty good. And you have this spot right here, the Rabbit Hole Flea Market, Antique Mall, Resale Shop. So that's good. They said they have this these antique shops. This is a thrift shop. So that's pretty cool. Antique shop, more or less. Flea market. Very cool, y'all. Right over here by this Subway restaurant is this mural of "Welcome to Historic Atlanta, Texas," established 1872. So very simple, just a welcoming into the small city of Atlanta, Texas. Very historic city, once again, established in 1872. And I also want to mention that to all my longtime Green Bay Packers fans that may be watching, longtime GM, late great GM by the name of Ted Thompson, grew up here in Atlanta, Texas. And a huge part of Atlanta's economy, aside of course from the local, it looks like they have a pretty decent economy. They have a lot of shops that are open, but there's also other parts of the economy that helps out with Atlanta as far as industries are concerned. You have farming, forestry, oil, and tourism. So Atlanta is actually a low-key, like a nice little tourism type of spot, you know? You can tell by how it's structured. And of course, farming, being that it is Texas. The people here are friendly. Talked to the lady earlier. Yeah. Of course, a lot of patriotism here. Seen a lot of flags, but you definitely would expect to see that in Texas, for sure. They have a 24-hour gym right there, Cass County Fitness. Price Hardware is across the street. Cass County Junction. They have a mural on the rear of its door. Love your city. Yeah, man, absolutely. Take pride in where you live. They have a clinic over there too, Colton and Carney Clinic. So Atlanta's for a city its size, a small city in Texas, it's pretty active. Pretty active. A lot of economic activity. They have a baseball academy as well, baseball and softball academy. So that's a good service to provide to the youth. Shout out to Atlanta for that. And so I'll make my way around this building, make my way over to the depot. So we can get some info on the railroad history of this small town. This looks like an abandoned shop right here. But over here they have this Luigi's Italian restaurant. So that's good. They have an Italian restaurant. And over here, it looks like this used to be a seafood joint. Let me see if I can get closer up to it. Looks like this was a seafood joint called Charlie's Corner. Rougarou Seafood. So wow, it's definitely abandoned. Charlie's Corner. But this leads us over here to by the railroad tracks. Couple of businesses across the tracks. One of them is called Chico Designs. They do embroidery, screen printing, vinyls, promotional items, all that stuff. And you also have a grooming shop, Grooming of Atlanta, professional dog salon. So it's good that they have all these services provided in the small city, so you don't have to drive a long ways. It's conveniently located here. And that building over there is the public libraries. That's a nice looking building. It actually looks like it's housed in one of those courthouse, not courthouse, but post office style buildings. So that's dope. But yep, getting closer and closer to the railroad tracks, or we are by the railroad tracks, but we're coming up on the Union Pacific rail car caboose, if you will. This is a Union Pacific 25602 model caboose. And anybody who knows me knows I like cabooses, or I like all the things that come with railroads, or that whole sort. And yeah, you have Atlanta Visitor Center and Museum, but this was also the railroad depot in the heyday of railroad travel. So it's a nice little depot. Classical design. The doors on the sides, you can see. And yeah, this buggy right over here. Really nicely designed Union Depot. Yep. But yeah, it's a really nicely designed depot. Even has an award from the Governor's Community Achievement Award for enhancing the quality of life in the community through planning, improving, and preserving an attractive environment. And signed off by Preston Smith, the governor. Presented to Atlanta 1970. Yeah, really cool. It's always good when you can add to the aesthetics of a city by redeveloping it. So I wonder what this is. Oh, it just has a bunch of different companies on there. You have Wagstaff, AJ New Company, Atlanta, Texas, established 1872. C. Robinson K. Crow. And it has the coordinates 52 by 70, 53 miles. Okay, so it's essentially a fire pit. It's really nice. Has different companies engraved in them. So yeah, and again, Atlanta on the Texas Pacific Railway. And this tree right here, as you can see, where the wooden swing sits next to, was planted in 1932 in memory of Mrs. Henry Arnold Carney of the Atlanta Women's Club. Shout out to Miss Henry Arnold Carney, RIP to her, and shout out to the Atlanta Women's Club for planting this really nice tree and honoring the legacy of Mrs. Carney. But with that in mind, good people, this concludes this vlog here in Atlanta, Texas, the small A. If you made it this far, make sure you hit the like button. Also, if you're new to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell. And once you hit the bell, make sure you select all. That way you get notified every time I drop a new vlog. And from Atlanta, Texas, this is P9 signing out. Peace.